if I'm 20, how do I live until I'm 120?
Okay. All right. But can I ask you back to question first? How do you
Yeah.
see yourself when you were at 120?
How do I see life?
Yes.
I think, well, what comes to mind instantly is I can't function in my body nearly as well. I'm sat kind of in a chair. I might struggle walking, and I'm sort of slower. I probably can't hear. I've got like a hearing aid, and it's taken me sort of longer to think and process. What about you, Joel?
Well, I think, okay, maybe you've gone for the sort of maybe harsh reality of what that might look like, but I'm going to go with the optimistic perspective of if I could, have a reality of living to 120, what would I want that to look like? And for me, it's more about I would like to still be cognitively present in my life. I don't mind if I'm not physically mobile. I don't mind if I can't do things, but I would still like to be able to interact with people I love in the same way I can now. I'd still like to be spiritually present and not sort of not losing my sense of self and my sense of where I am and who I am. So I'd like to keep the mental side more than sort of the physical side for me.
I see. And what is the purpose of you trying to live up to 120 years old? Whether you live to see some big change in life or in the world?
I think the thing is you only live once, and I wouldn't see why you wouldn't want to live as long as possible. I think like it would be nice to see how things evolve for another 40 years. I feel like when I get to 80, I'm not going to really want it to stop. I'm just going to want to sort of keep going and just keep watching the world and keep experiencing the joys of life.
I see.
And I guess I have a different opinion to that, where I'm like, I don't mind if my life isn't, if I don't reach 100 or don't reach 95 plus or whatever. I just like to in the time that I do have, try and maximize the quality of experience that I can have and the amount of sort of love I can express to those around me and the impact I can have. And so I don't fear death, I guess. I don't see it as necessarily a bad thing, but that's because of my like spiritual or more religious philosophies and views.
I see. All right. Thank you very much for this lovely question. I think this is a very good question for us to really ponder on and see what we can do about it. So why did I ask you these two questions is like, number one, how do you see yourself at 120 years old? And why do you want to live until that age, you see? So first of all, it's because many people will think like living longer is good, but doesn't mean that you have a very good health span. So what you mentioned just now, living to 120 is about lifespan, how much you can reach, how far you can reach. But it's about depth of your life rather than length of your life, if you see it that way. That's how I see it as well. So when it comes to health, it's the same. It's not about the lifespan, the length, how much you can reach, but it's about the health spans. That means like Joel, what you mentioned is that I don't mind to live a shorter life, but if I can live it to the max of my life, that's all that matters. So it's also the same when I try to approach my patients or any of my clients having the thought saying that they want to live as long as they want. Then I will try to make sure that let's live to the fullest first every single day before we try to push an extra mile. So that's what we are aiming for. So if you ask me, I would first say, if let's say you want to live up to 120 years, so we must first make sure that the next coming 1 year, 2 years, or even about 10, 20 years is going to be at your healthiest, most state of life. So to do this, as a functional medicine doctor, we always go back to the basic foundation. There's only 5 main pillars in life that we focus on. Stress and relaxation, how you manage your stress. Second is about how you sleep well. The next one is about your nutrition. And the other one is about your relationship with other people, which I believe this is more or less been ignored sometimes, especially when it comes to young people these days. They are very obsessed with their phone. They are very engaged on social media, but when it comes to real life relationship with people around them, this is something that we really have to talk about and try to cultivate a good culture where they build a good relationship. You will tend to see that centenarians, anyone who live until 100 years old, they have a good social cycle. You notice all of them will have a good social cycle, even they're at 100 years old. You will rarely see someone who live until 100 years old, but they are all alone and they don't have friends around them. They don't have any support around them. And one last thing is about exercise. So this is the 5 main pillars in life in functional medicines that we will focus on. And if you can do well in each aspect, I believe that you'll be able to live regardless of how many years old, but you will be able to live to your fullest every single day.
Thank you. That was a really nice answer. Like really coherent, and like it ended with a nice sort of five point structure for us to kind of work with now. Do you find when you're working with people, this is just a question I'm interested about, do you focus on like slowly up leveling each of those 5 at the same time, or do you focus on one in particular for them to get right and sort of build that habit, and then move on to another one? I mean, what's your kind of process for me and Jacob and the people listening of like, if we want to improve these 5 pillars, how would you go about doing that?
In fact, I will go on to all 5 perspectives of this, rather than doing one after another, because I believe that you sleep every day, you should be exercising every day, you should be having a good relationship every day, you should be having a good exercise every day, and also you should be managing your stress every day. So I suppose this is meant to be done all in one shot, but of course we can choose to do bit by bit in each single aspect. Meaning that, let's say if I want to try to build a good relationship, I won't ask you to have 10, 20 friends in a day. I will ask you to, why don't you start building a relationship with anyone closest to you first? Then we go superficial in each pillar, but we start all at the same time and slowly go in depth to all together. That's how I see it.